since all
Okay.
these are in decimal form,
No, oh,
let's
no,
go
no, no.
ahead
We're
and
going to keep
quickly
this shit
convert
show
them
rolling,
all to
bud.
decimal form.
I ain't done yet.
0.075 is in decimal form. 3/4 is very
Which of the
easy to
following
convert to a
correctly
decimal.
order?
And
Okay,
you
so
should
this
know that
one's this
3/4
one
is the
seems a
same
bit
as
practical. We could say that that's
0.75.
75, you know,
Again, this is
0.75, right? That's
0.75.
almost an
This one's
inch.
already
It's
in
almost a
decimal
whole number.
form. And
This is
one
already a
looks like it's
decimal,
in
and this
decimal
is a
form,
percentage.
but we have this
So
percent
we'll pull
symbol
this back
hanging out there.
over
So in
a couple
order
of
to convert
positions.
0.75%
But do you know
to
work and
a
friction?
decimal, we're going to take 0.75.
This one's actually important at the
and we're
dollar.
going to divide it
You know, if this
by 100.
this was a whole dollar, this was
as we previously
not a
saw
whole
in this
dollar,
video,
and this is not a whole
multiplied a
dollar.
decimal by
But
a
at the
power
same
of 10,
time, this
we shifted its
percentage
decimal
means
place to
that
the right
out of a whole
according to
dollar,
how many
a
zeros there were in the
75%
power
of a
10,
whole dollar,
because we're dividing a decimal by a power of
because
10.
it'd be a whole number,
We're
and
gonna
it
shift
can
its
only be
decimal
1 or
to the
0,
left
really, unless you're going
according
to
to how
say
many
that
zeros
this
there are in the
is
power
not
of 10.
based off of
In
a
100,
dollar,
there are
which
two
causes a
zeros,
big
so we're gonna take this
conflict of
decimal
interest
0.75
against
and shift it
why
one,
you would
two
ever
times to the left,
need to
add in zero
organize a
placeholders.
situation like
So
this.
0.75
Now,
over
analytically,
100 is the same as
there's
0.0075.
functional reasons to
So
do
in
this, but
other
let's bring it back
words,
to the dollar
let me put
bill.
that
Let's
over
bring it
here
back
as
to a
well.
time
In
circumstance.
other words,
Time can be
we
a
have
very strong
0.75% being
value,
the smallest.
a velocity,
After that, we
a
have
vector in
0.075.
which you can
Then
apply
finally,
this
we
mechanics
have
to.
3/4. So let's
But
look for
come
this
on,
order.
I mean, this is
Of
21.
course, that's
This is
gonna
February
be
10,
answer
21.
choice
Now,
A.
obviously, it had to be close to that time frame.
All right, so
Not to just
that's that
mention
one.
it, shark tax change and a bunch of other things too. And when in the real
Right,
world, can
number
you show me in
15
boot
says,
camp where they
what
apply
is the
that
value
function?
of 2.84?
What are we teaching here?
times
It seems like a waste of money
So we're
and a
gonna
waste
do
of time.
2.84
What is the value of
times
2.9?
3.9. That is to say, we're going to multiply two decimals by each other. And this, as it happens, is pretty easy to do. The very
Add a
first thing
zero?
we're going to do is shift the decimal
Oh, shift
in
the decimal.
0.284 as well as 3.9 to the right, such that we rewrite 2.84 as well as 3.9
But why?
as whole numbers. So we're going to take this decimal and shift it one.
Again, if it was dollars,
Two
that's
times
fine.
to the
If
right,
it
I'm
was
gonna take
hours,
note of that, and that
2.84
becomes
hours, 3.9 hours.
284, and
That's
then
fair.
3.9,
That's
we're
almost
gonna have to
that's
shift
almost
its
a full
decimal place
hour. And
one
that's
time to the
rational. You
right,
could say
so
out of an
rewrite
hour
that
of
as
time, it takes an hour of doing
39.
operations. I had
So in total,
one
we
person
shifted
do
these
a product and I had
decimal
another
places, 2
person
plus
do a
1
product,
are
and it would be
3 places to the
sensible
right.
to
So
be able
once
to
we
look
do
at the
this
material
arithmetic,
and find
without
what
the
what
decimal
value you
places,
actually
we'll
want
shift
it
them
to
back each to the
be
left.
instead of leaving a very
So
wide
4 times
margin of
9
error
is
for
gonna be
why you would be
36, carry a
teaching a
3.
practical
8
math like
times
that.
9 is
I mean, it is generally
72,
functionable,
73,
I think.
74,
It's like,
75,
again,
bring down a 5, carry a 7.
inches,
9 times 2 is
2.84
18,
inches, and
19, 20, 21,
3.90
22,
inches
23,
is what you
24,
would do.
25.
You know, there would
So
definitely be a
that's the
zero
first
in that
iteration of
position
multiplication.
to multiply
Before
them.
we start multiplication with this 3, we have to bring
Why
in a
would I
0
shift this one
placeholder.
2 and this one 1?
3 times 4 is 12. So we're going to have to carry a 1.
The y
8 times 3
in mathematics,
is
algebra,
24, plus 1 is 25.
super
So we're gonna
critical,
have to carry a 2.
but it's all in zeros and
2
ones in
times 3
y,
is 6, plus 2
right?
is
So
8.
why
Add these
am I
together.
doing this? Why am I not
0 plus
factoring
6
this
is
in such a
6.
way
5 plus
that it's
2 is 7.
practical?
5 plus 5 is 10, so we bring down a 0 and
This
carry
is
a
very
1.
important. Well, I'm going to be
8
doing a
plus
few
2
of these
is,
tonight,
10.
just to make
Plus
sure that
1
I'm
is
good and up on
11.
it, and I'll check
Bring
the
our
next
3
one. You might
decimals
keep
back into the left.
you guys with
1,
me if you want to
2,
stay. I
3.
don't know. Nobody watches my shit,
And we
but
can see that this is
probably because I'm a cussing loudmouth asshole about stuff like this, and I should be. It's like if, come on, I have. You would have to say like I have my time could be comparatively to the rational of how many times I've never really needed to do any of that in the real world. Is it a business owner thing? Is it Illuminati kind of a thing you guys are dealing with over there? Find the light. It's like just I'm right, you're wrong. This is super critical, and you'll never need it. That's all you get out of this. Come on.
0.8637, round it to the nearest hundredth. So we have 0.8637. We want to round it to the nearest hundredth. So first,
I know this is not the ASVAB. I've taken the ASVAB a few times, definitely a few practice ASVABs. But this is more important, definitely considering topological things that are on the board and why everybody's eating fucking Tide Pods.
and so
shooting
on
heroin.
and so forth. So if we want to round this one to the nearest hundredth, we're looking at this 6 right here. More specifically, to round,
Good.
you look to the number that's to the right.
You feel me?
If it's
you feel
5
me?
or greater, you round up. If it's 4 or below, you keep that number the same. So
they do.
In this case,
and then for the next 8 years of my well, so I would say a 4th grader, but you know what? They're too busy learning about the fallopian tubes in a male's genitalia in San Francisco right now.
Number 17 says 60% of what number is equal to 30. Now these questions
60% of what number is equal to 30?
They get stuck in trying to analyze the question.
Again, we'll need to shift that decimal to the left.
Again, as we saw previously, 60% is the same as 0.6 of, in math, means multiply. So this is
0.6 times 30.
What number? Well, when you have an unknown number in math, you can call it x. An unknown is equal to
60% of what number is equal to 30 times t. T is a number.
Times x.
It's not an option, but it's a number.
X equals 30. Now we're just solving for x, so we're going to divide
lambda,
both
wave
sides
function,
by 0.6.
psi,
x by itself.
sigma.
This is going to cross out, leaving you with
alpha,
x over here.
Beta.
And this question becomes,
C.
What
did they use it in electrical engineering? I was watching on. C is
6. Now this may be tricky.
They were doing with a battery, a wire, and a resistor, and it had to deal with
the key to doing
Cunin over C, right?
If the decimal's inside the division bracket, you don't have to make any adjustments.
A wire is a.
If the decimal's outside the division bracket, and it is in this case,
it's homogeneous against all points. No matter where you check that wire, it's always the same current, even after the resistor.
Likewise,
so,
you have to add
I know that. It's like, and it makes sense. No matter, I can physically put the multimeter anywhere on here, as long as it's not through a different part, through the resistor on the other side. But as long as that's good, I know it's not the wire burnt out. I mean, it's got a little black spot on it, and it's fuzzled out, and it's not working anymore, but I know it.
Right now the question is, how many times
which is C over S.
How many times does 6 go into 30?
No, I get that. It makes sense, though, for me. What C over S makes sense. Which is why C is a Cunin instead of the speed of light is
50 times
another animal
6 times 50
entirely.
Is 300 with no remainder. So the answer to this one is 50. So
actually, I got that one wrong at first, but I didn't know why. I thought it was 5.
18 says if 4/3 divided by 1/6 equals p,
then
the value of p is between which of the following
this is
pairs
6.
of numbers?
1 over 6 is 6.
Let's just copy down
and
what we have
but
here.
this is not this. This is a weird one.
Over 3 divided by 1/6. We know this.
How do you get 4/3
we want to do 4/3
in the real world? I could have 2 pie charts that have 3 slits in them, which is the nucleus of the hydrogen atom. 3 neutron, neutron, proton, and electron be the 3 parts. And you're dealing with S order, P order. What the hell's the matter with you? And seeing that P is in the value here,
this second fraction. So
wow, that's a heavy duty statement. Helium? S is helium, I think. Or hydrogen is S, P, and then there's like F. There's like a whole bunch of them, and they're different, and they have to do with like their electron positions traveling through a medium, like that Cunin 1 over C, because it in itself. Anyway, we're like, well, you know, wait a minute here. We're not done trying to shoot some poor kid in the face here. We'll get done with that part first.
8. So we can see that 4/3 divided by 1/6 is 8. So this is 8 equals P.
Show me one thing in the real world. Does it come from that light bulb from Hoover Dam? And I need to you show me that. But that is so complicated. Don't you think you'd receive a little bit of training on the thing? I mean, hell, I didn't know cut coefficients. I jumped on the saw and they taught them to me. And I never like wadded up the saws or
one another. So this is going to be a great test of our knowledge of fractions as well.
This is what you're paying. Why? Because you want people to fail.
One says Compare
you want less money, military? 5, 7. Do you not know math? So clearly you don't know fucking math.
Prior experience is going to be 0.75.
Did you see Millie and Austin out there earlier today trying to pull off multi-domain Battlefield? Or the other day? I saw that. I watched. I was there.
Them as long division.
Like I said, I've already done this, Wes. We're having fun here, fucking with the system real good. Calm down.
7. Let's work this out. We start by
no, I don't want to work this out. I just want to screw with you.
7 going to 5. It doesn't, so in light of that, we have to put a decimal here. We'll tack on some 0
big
placeholders.
Guy. So you do all the math in the world.
Likewise,
and after a while, I'm just going to get mad at you, and you'll be like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I'm going to mug you in the fucking alley.
Now the question is, how many times does 7 go into 50 without going over? That's going to be
the smarter guy
7
now, huh?
times. Given that 7 times 7 is 49. 50 minus
I'm a sweetheart.
Is 1,
I wouldn't do it, but I swear to good God.
0. How many times does 7 go into 10 without going over? That's 1 time. Given that 7 times 1 is 7.
The Ranger in the sky.
Right there.
I'm going to go get him, the Sears guy. Yeah, the Sears guy. We're going to go get that Sears guy. And we're going to make your ass work at Walmart and try to find anywhere. I'll give you the whole run of the store. The inventory in back, the truckers.
We have 2/3 greater than 5/6. So instead of converting these to
hear
decimals, me now? This one's actually pretty easy to work out a different way. Again,
we need practical equations for this. And then it's one thing to say, hey, you can't handle practical systems, man. This is reading comprehension to a certain degree. I know that these are questions on systems where you'll get.
2 times 3 is 6.
Do I have it?
This is 4/6 is greater than 5/6. Is 4/6
well, you will have.
Greater than 5/6? This one's not true.
You will have.
Take a look at this one. We have 5/8 greater than 6/10. Well, let's think about 6/10 for a minute. We have 6 divided by 10. As we've seen in this video, when we multiply our divide by powers of 10, it just prompts us to shift our decimal left or right. And in 6, technically there's a decimal right here, although it's not expressed since we're just writing the whole number 6.
Is this one?
That said, we have 6 divided by a power of 10,
you just keep being dead for the moment.
So that's going to prompt us to move the decimal 1 place to the left. So 6/10
here we go.
is the same as
you will get
6.
25 questions in general science in 11 minutes. Arithmetic reasoning, 30 questions in 36 minutes. Word knowledge, you'll get 35 questions in 11 minutes. Programming comprehension, you'll get 15 questions in 13 minutes. You'll have 15 questions in 13 minutes. Maybe that's where you're getting this algorithm from, but once you figure inside here, you might want to try a sensible ratio to the questions that you're dealing with. Like, all right, so time somebody reading this. Which of the following inequalities is true? Okay, so that's 4 or 5 seconds, and I can read the numbers. I can look at these things and say, all right, so we're looking for greater than or less than inside of here. That's pretty complicated for mathematic knowledge, which you got 25 questions. You have 1 minute to answer this question. You have less than 1 minute to answer this question. That doesn't seem sensible to me.
And this is a true statement. 6.25 is greater than 0.6. So this
we want something that indicates the value inside of here. This is from years ago that I wrote this down. So,
so I'm not going to do number
20. And I knew exactly where to find it. I knew that it was greater than any of this other bullshit in terms of why it's all screwed up.
As I mentioned,
and in general, you'll have a total of 200 questions to answer in 134 minutes.
They're going to mirror the types of questions you're going to see very
whether you're good at them, you're not good at them.
Since it's a computer adaptive test.
And at any point in time, everybody's good at analyticals. You have to be. What's that thing? Describe it to me. That's an analytical description of what it is. Now, is the defined model to you, in your opinion, more valuable here than somebody else? And of course, opinion is not exactly a rational number.